If you can hear me, I think I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome everybody. I'm David Combs, Mayor of the City of Rocky Mount, and this is a great day for us. There's a lot of work, a lot of effort that's been put into this effort to get here this morning. It's really been a community effort, not only with the vision that I think President Gray had, knowing about this event, knowing that it was a very successful sporting event that had been held other places, and brought it to our attention. And so as we got into this and a steering committee got put together, it started gaining momentum and really has taken on a life of its own, and what brings us here today. I particularly want to welcome Commissioner Rita Wiggs with USA South. I don't know how much you know about Commissioner Wiggs, but back in 1971, she's been a great athlete all her life, but she was selected by the Fayetteville Observer to the 1971 all-county, all-city basketball all-star team. Now what's amazing about that is that there wasn't a girls all-star team, so this was for all players, and it was the only time up to that point that there had been only male players to that all-star team. It just tells you how good she was back in high school when she started. But she's been a great athlete. She's been an athletic director, a coach, and has been commissioner now for about 14 years. So we're happy to have her here, and we certainly couldn't do this without her. As I said earlier, President Gray has done a great job here. Westland is part of the USA South, and we are grateful to have him here. Robbie Davis, also here, is County Commissioner, but he's also the chairman of the Travel and Tourism Board, and Molly Winstead in the back works with them, and he's here today. Also, we couldn't have done it without them as well, because it takes a group effort. And the last person up here is Dale Smith. She's our Parks and Athletic Director, and she's been outstanding, not only her, but everybody in her staff, making sure all these events are put into place, and it's a lot of, I guess, getting everything here as far as what they needed in athletic venues put together in a way that not only worked for our Parks and Recreation Department, but also for USA South, and she's done a great job of organizing all that. I do want to mention one thing, and I think Robbie will probably talk about this a little bit as well as far as the investment part of this, but this is a 2-year commitment. 2013, 2014, the event will be here, and so we've got a 2-year commitment, but our real goal here is to make it a much longer commitment than a 2-year commitment. But the other thing that's happened during this process is, because we didn't have a tennis center here in our community that would fit with a tournament like this and provide them what they needed, there's been a joint effort between the city, the county, and North Carolina Westland College to build a brand new tennis center out at Westland. If you hadn't seen it, it's an outstanding facility, and it'll not only be used for athletic events at North Carolina Westland for players there and for tournaments, but also open to the citizens of Nash and Rocky Mount, Nash County and Rocky Mount. So it's a great addition to our city on that tennis conference. Last but not least, and again, is what it brings to this community in terms of the economic impact from travel and tourism, and that is something that I'm sure Robbie will talk about a little bit more. But from a mayor's perspective, you not only want to show off the city in terms of your athletic venues, but it's great to have 800 people, athletes, come into this community, because it's not just the athletes, it's their families, it's their friends that also come here, that visit our city. And hopefully we will do a great job, not only at our athletic venues, but also in the city of Rocky Mount, showcasing what we have here in our community. So I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad all of you came out for it. It's a great way to kick this off. And at this point in time, I think I'm going to call on Jim Gray to come forward and make a few remarks.
Thank you, David. Good morning. I wanted to introduce the members of the Rocky Mount Organizing Committee who are here. That's the official host for the championships. And the people I've seen, and please raise your hand, most of you know who they are, but on the organizing committee today are Lige Daughtridge is here. Raise your hand. Martha Lamb, course, David Combs, Robbie Davis, who will speak in a few minutes, Julia Congleton Bryant, Bob Murphy, County Manager, Vel Johnson, Board Chair of Wesleyan, Bill Lenz, you know Bill, and Don Williams from Lewis Advertising, which, by the way, is donating a lot of time and effort on this this effort to generate local enthusiasm. And Molly Winstead, who's new at the Travel and Tourism Bureau. Where are you, Molly? There you are. Did I miss anybody on the organizing committee? Well, thank you very much, the official host. This campaign, this effort began in spring of 2010 and came together, as the mayor said, with growing momentum. And it was May 11th of 2011 that the games, the championships, were awarded to Rocky Mount after a pretty spirited competition with the incumbent Burlington. It is true that I'm not welcome in the city of Burlington anymore, so I just drive through and keep the windows up. The community really did pull together with this common purpose. Recently, the host city is required to bear certain out-of-pocket expenses, and between the TDA and tourism industry, we've raised those funds, about $45,000, to cover costs that the host is required to undertake. Several of the people here and several people not here, I want to give special recognition to Tom Betts, our trustee, Martha Lamb, Robbie, Steve Bryant with the Mudcats, Mayor Combs. We could not have won this without all of those people coming in early and coming in strong. And of course, Dale Smith, who you'll hear from, who was my partner at the end during the presentation. So without further ado, we decided that the championships need a look, a graphic identity, and the good people with the city have designed a logo, and we hope that we'll see it all over the city. So if Martha, would you come up here and help us, and Robbie, and Mayor Combs, and Rita. We'll just unveil this and show you what the graphic identity is. This effort would not have been possible, either the campaign or the victory, without really the support of the commissioner. Not that she favored one city over the other, but she encouraged us when we said, you know, could we go for it and what will it take? And she was very encouraging. She's very fair during the whole thing. And so we owe a lot to Rita Wiggs, and we look forward to the next 6 months getting ready and putting on the best games, the best championship ever, and keeping it here a long time because of that. So I want to introduce you to Commissioner Rita Wiggs.
Thank you, Jim. Mayor Combs, President Gray, other dignitaries and assembled guests, good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning. I'm excited to represent the USA South Athletic Conference today as we announce this partnership to bring our Spring Sports Festival to your All-America award-winning city. As a former coach in the conference, I have visited Rocky Mount many times, but coming to play basketball games usually meant coming under the cloud of darkness, and it was always directly to the campus and then directly out, but we always took a little side trip to Gardner's Barbecue for our post-game meal. But it didn't allow the opportunity to see all that the city and the surrounding area had to offer. Since the first visit a few months ago to begin the bidding process for this event, I have seen the passion that the leaders and citizens of this community have for their sports, history, art and culture, and their love for their city and community. I believe that our student athletes will indeed be fortunate to be on the receiving end of your hospitality and passion when they descend upon your city in April. Especially impressive has been the collaborative efforts of many organizations and groups to make this opportunity a reality. For the past 7 years, our spring sports championships have been conducted in one city, different venues, but all in the geography of one city. It has become a much anticipated event for our student athletes and one they look forward to each spring. Our intent was to make their championships special and not just a tournament, but an event where they were the guests of honor. We have accomplished those goals, and now the leaders of this city and county have expressed to me that they're going to make this the best one ever. Rocky Mount has met and exceeded our requirements and stipulations to host. It is familiar to our teams as North Carolina Wesleyan is a founding member of our conference. It is located at the intersection of I-95 for north-south and US 64 for east-west travel and access to the venues. Hotels, restaurants, and shopping are varied and plentiful. The proposed venues and facilities will provide excellent competitive sites for our student athletes and plenty of space for the spectators. Those with oversight of these facilities have been so enthusiastic and excited that we are coming. The baseball tournament will utilize 2 sites, Wilson's historic Fleming Stadium and Zebulon's fabulous 5-county stadium. The management of both facilities have been so welcoming and eager to host this tournament. And I must tell you, our baseball teams are excited. The men's and women's tennis tournament will be held at the new tennis facility on the campus of North Carolina Wesleyan College, where the adage, "Build it and they will come," couldn't be more true. There's no better golf course in North Carolina than the Benvenue Country Club course, and our teams are in for a real treat and challenge on that course. Softball will be held across the way here at the sports complex, and women's lacrosse will play right here in this stadium. We are most appreciative of the support the conference is receiving from the City of Rocky Mount, the Nash County Tourism Development Authority, North Carolina Wesleyan College, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Rocky Mount Parks and Recreation, and the other organizations and volunteers that will make the 2013 Sports Festival a memorable, unforgettable experience for our student athletes and their families and friends. It takes a village to support this event, and we thank the volunteers and citizens who have already put so much time and energy into preparations and planning for this event. And to Jim Gray, you've been the mover and shaker to bring this sports festival to Rocky Mount. In about 7 months, your vision will come to fruition, and we will be putting about 800 or more student athletes, coaches, staff, and administrators, their heads in your beds. We look forward to being embraced in this community's arms of good Southern hospitality. Thank you, Rocky Mount, and we'll see you in April.
Dale, I think you're and then Robbie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dale Smith. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Rocky Mount. Rita kind of stole my thunder. I was going to talk to you about all the specifics of the tournament, but I want to talk a little bit about what this means to Rocky Mount and what it means to our department and what it means to the city. Since I've been here about 6 years, and we've not had an event at this level. And some of the things I've talked to my staff about in the past was that we wanted to build our resume, our facility resume. And this is just another kind of step toward actually bringing in very high-profile events. I've had a relationship with Rita Wiggs, the commissioner, for about 30 years. I've known her from NC State University, and Rita is a constant professional, handles herself very, very well in a lot of sometimes strenuous situations, and we look forward to having that partnership. Also, it's really, really critical, I think, when we started talking about venues and started talking about bringing this event to the city of Rocky Mount. One of the things that we couldn't have done, wouldn't have had the chance to do, is if we didn't have cooperation from our neighboring counties and cities. And so there's some people that I need to thank that are not here today, but I need to thank that made that happen. David Lee, who's Wilson Parks and Recreation Director, and Richard Frazier, who's Wilson Recreation Superintendent. Obviously, Jim mentioned Steve Bryant, who's the president of the Mudcats organization, the Benvenue Country Club, Chris Alexander and Rich Parker from that, and obviously President Gray and with his leadership and his staff. And then finally, for our staff, I'd like to thank the City Council, administration for their support, Travel and Tourism for supporting this event, and I'd like to recognize Rocky Mount Parks and Recreation staff that is going to be organizing this event from top to bottom. Our host director is Ray Fulgham. Rayford and I have been co-workers since way early in the, I guess, late 70s, early 80s. He was Recreation Superintendent for the City of Raleigh for 32 years. He'll be the host director for the conference. Steve Warren, our park superintendent, will be looking over all the logistics of forest venues, specifically the venues here in Rocky Mount. Kelvin Yarrow will be really overseeing kind of a little bit of everything, but he'll be handling the budgetary items. Joel Dunn, who's our sports complex director, will be handling the sites that are here. So I'll say all that to say is that, you know, we are so excited about having this event. It was a very unique experience working with Jim on this. Something I've not ever done, and I think our department has never done. But the venues that we have selected are second to none. There's not an area that can provide the venues at this level on all different facets of all the championships. So we're excited about it, and we appreciate all the support. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I am Robbie Davis. As they said, I'm chairman of the Nash County TDA. TDA is Tourism and Travel Authority. We're the blessed people that get to manage the funds that are paid by each one of those people in heads and beds. And Rita, you don't think you mentioned parents. Please bring those along with you also, if you would. I'm sure you will. First of all, I'd like to introduce, and I may need a little bit of help because you can't see very well up here with the sun in your eyes, the members of that board that are here today. Ernestine Neal, who is sitting right here as a member of our board, Bill Lamus, which is right behind her, and of course Molly Winstead. I've worked for Martha so long, I've got to really work on that. Molly Winstead is the person that kind of keeps it all put together between us and Travel and Tourism. Do I have any more members of the board here? I certainly do not want to miss one of them because we work together very well. And then, of course, I mentioned Martha. We all know her. She looked after this Travel and Tourism and Tourism Development Authority for many, many years, probably since it was first began. And I think that was, Martha, help me out, 17 years ago or 13 years ago? 18 years ago. I think it was 17 when you retired, maybe. I'm not sure. But we appreciate them being here. What it means to TDA, of course, is we've been very fortunate through the hard work of both of those organizations that are intertwined to be able to sustain our revenues during this economy that we have been in. We have actually, the last 2 years, been able to increase them significantly. And this past year, finishing up in July, was the best year we had ever had. And I think that's remarkable in the economic times that we're currently in. People have to cut back somewhere, but just due to the hard work, and a great part of that was this facility you see over my shoulders here, the sports complex, who is one of the funding agencies from this travel and tourism tax, and it has just been marvelous. And since we've been able to increase it, we realize how good it feels to increase it each year. So we've got to keep finding new sources to do that. And the project we started back in 2010 at Dr. Gray's house one night, first time I met Commissioner Wiggs over a great dinner. And Dr. Gray, I think you told us, I asked a question that night, we would be doing that on a quarterly basis, but I don't remember going back out there yet, but maybe it was once it started, possibly. I'm not sure what that was. But anyway, this event is probably the largest event we'll be able to put together to increase and sustain those, I'm going to use Rita's words, heads in beds. I don't know whether we got that from her or she got that from us, but it is very easy to remember, and that's exactly what the goal of our organization is. I have just a little story. A cousin lives over in Burleson, is in the plumbing business, and his wife is in the advertising business. And a couple of months ago, I was over there at the passing of one of my uncles, and his wife asked me, she said, Robbie, what's going on over in Rocky Mount? Mayor, I guess you realize I immediately was formulating my defense of what the question really meant, to defend Rocky Mount. And I said, Linda, I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean by that? She said, y'all have stole our sports tournament. And all I could do was just smile at her. I didn't rub it in, of course, or anything, but I think we're very fortunate to bring that here. And it is our goal now to keep it here once we get it here, and then look for the next one, because that's just what we've got to do moving forward. Industry recruitment, which is another charge that our Board of Commissioners have, is very difficult this day and time. We, of course, are meeting with some success, but it takes a lot of work to do that, just like it has to put this event together. But running on two separate tracks to keep our revenue sustained is a lot better than just having to run on one. So I appreciate the opportunity to work with Travel and Tourism. I appreciate the opportunity to work with the committee you put together, Dr. Gray, and really look forward 7 months from now to seeing this thing come to fruition. Commissioner Wiggs, Braxton Biggs said in January of 1991, events always take much longer to develop than expected. I think we all know that. For our committee, but once they begin, I think we've now realized they occur much faster than we anticipated. We can't hardly wait, and we will be ready when it comes. And the last part of that little saying Braxton Briggs has was, and they go much further than anticipated. That's the part we're looking to you to help us do, is to carry it much further than the 2 years that we currently have under contract with you, and we'll make sure we do our part in that. In closing, I personally want to thank one person that I know has spent a tremendous amount of time on this with all the duties he has, and I kind of admire the way he's looked after it. And before I say that, David, the tennis facility out at Wesleyan was also funded in part by TDA as well, over a 6-year commitment, if I remember correctly. And I only ask in the future, Dr. Gray, when you do fundraising, I would appreciate if you would get someone to do it other than Mr. Betts, because he has absolutely worried TDA to death about this thing. Of course, I understand he does that on everything, and he's still calling, looking funding. I'll give my board a heads up on that. He'll be back again, try to close the gap there. But my final statement is, the great Vince Lombardi said in 1962, winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is. I think Dr. Gray took this as a personal thing that he just had to win. He put a team together to bring this event here that truly wanted to win. And on behalf of Nash County and TDA, we want to thank you this morning for the effort that you and your committee have put forward to this. Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
I want to thank you all for coming today. I do want to recognize Councilmember Bullock, Councilmember Chris Miller, and our city manager Charles Penny. Some of the decisions that are made have to be made at the county and city level when you're doing something like this, so they certainly were part of this process. I don't want to thank them for being here today. Again, on behalf of everyone up here on the stage, we want to thank you for being out here today. We hope that 7 months from now you'll be back out here again looking at the sporting events and supporting the athletes, and make it a great day. I have promised her we're going to take care of them in Rocky Mount. So come out and enjoy the events. And again, thank you for coming out today.